My boyfriend had car trouble and called me for help, then had the audacity to tell me not to womansplain to him and just fix the problem, so I left him ditched on the side of the road and told him to get a real mechanic to fix it. Posted by you/GermanCat34. I, 26F, had been dating my boyfriend, Nick, 27M, for almost a year, and something that has always bothered me is how Nick does not believe in maintaining or taking care of his vehicles. Background: to give some context, Nick bought his car brand new about 5 years ago and has put about 70,000 miles on it. Since purchasing the vehicle, he has never had an oil change, nor does he perform any kind of regular maintenance. I want to clarify that Nick's refusal to maintain his vehicle is not due to financial insecurity. He has an incredible job that pays him very well. As a hobby and side job, I like to restore vehicles for profit. I am by no means a mechanic. I mostly clean up vehicles, do bodywork, and paint restoration. However, I do have a pretty fundamental understanding of cars, and I know how to do the basics. The story: Nick called me yesterday on my day off, telling me he was about 10 minutes away from my house and had a flat tire. He asked if I could come help him out. I grabbed my tool bag and headed out. When I arrived, I saw that Nick not only had a flat tire but that his front left rotor was cracked, the rotor is part of the car's brakes, and his rim was bent beyond repair. I told Nick his car was undrivable and that he needed to call a tow truck. However, Nick started arguing with me, insisting that it was just a flat tire and not a big deal. I tried showing Nick how severe the damage was, but he insisted I was overreacting and that he just needed me to change the tire. I refused. In Nick's own words, I started mothering him about how poorly he takes care of his car. The argument escalated, and Nick lashed out, saying things like, "Just because you have a set of pink tools and watch YouTube doesn't make you an effing mechanic." After Nick said this, I started packing up my tools and told him that he was right. I'm not a mechanic, but he should probably call one because I wasn't going to change his tire. I left Nick on the side of the road, and now he's refusing to talk to me until I apologize for abandoning him. Am I the jerk here? Commenter: not the jerk, and yikes, if he won't maintain a high-end purchase, how does he treat his home? He has made fun of your car knowledge, yelled at you for making an accurate statement about his broken car, and demanded an apology, none of which you deserved. Is this how he normally responds to stressful situations? Ops response: I'm going to answer your question with way more detail than you asked for. I was raised by a single mom and never had a father figure growing up. When something broke in our house, I would teach myself how to fix it, and my mother always encouraged me to explore how mechanically inclined I was. After I met Nick's parents, his father and I really bonded over our love for cars and fixing them. Every time I went over to Nick's parents' house, his father and I would inevitably end up in the garage tinkering. Nick has always been insecure about how quickly his father and I developed a relationship. Nick, obviously, is not very mechanically inclined and has never shown any interest in cars. The relationship I have with Nick's father has been a sore spot in our relationship for a long time, and I think that's why Nick lashed out the other day. Update 5 days later. Thank you so much to everyone who commented on my original post. I spent a few days reading all of your comments and taking some time to self-reflect. Vehicle update: Nick drove a Nissan Versa, and after I left him on the side of the road, he ended up calling a tow truck/mobile mechanic. When the actual mechanic arrived, he told Nick everything I had already explained to him. The mechanic also refused to change his tire and said he would only tow the car to a repair shop. Nick refused to share the full extent of the damage to his vehicle with me, but it must have been pretty bad because, instead of repairing his Nissan and wasting all that money, he decided to buy a new car. Relationship update: earlier today, I invited Nick over for dinner. I spent the whole day cooking and baking his favorite dishes: braised oxtail soup, drunken potatoes, and tiramisu for dessert. When Nick arrived at my house, he was in a wonderful mood and seemed to have forgotten, or forgiven, all about our argument. After some small talk and finishing dinner, I took a deep breath and told Nick how much I care about him but that I no longer wish to continue our relationship, romantically or otherwise. At first, Nick was shocked, but his shock quickly turned into anger. He felt I was insane for ending our relationship over what he considered a petty, unimportant argument. Eventually, he tried to apologize, but I told him an apology was no longer what I was looking for. The whole time Nick was talking, I sat on the opposite end of the table, listening with both ears and allowing him to say everything he needed to. When he was done, I reminded him of some of the wonderful times we had shared. I told him that we are both adults and could choose to end our one-year relationship with arguing and anger or on good terms by finishing a lovely last meal together. Nick calmed down after that, and his tone started to match mine. We didn't talk for much longer, but luckily I had planned ahead and had some tiramisu wrapped up for him, along with a small bin of all the things he had kept at my house. Before he left, I gave him a big hug and told him that if he ever needed someone to show him how to change a tire, I'd be happy to send him a YouTube tutorial. Life update. Over these last few days, I decided to treat myself by buying my neighbor's old 1978 Ford Ranger. The truck is an absolute hunk of junk and will probably take me over a year to make it look somewhat recognizable. But I figured it would be more productive and cost-effective for me to obsess over an old, broken truck than to fixate on broken men. I plan to stay single for a while and focus on taking better care of myself, as well as spending more time with my 3 German shepherds. Happy reading, everyone!